everybody, thanks for watching. Just a quick reminder that the lecture at UNLV on the gospel of hip hop, that video is on Merkable Academy. Also, it's available on Podia. Make sure you guys check it out. So I want to get right into this video, just based on the last video I put out, just getting into, energy and understanding the pineal gland and how all this works, together. We talk about the soul. I talked about the pineal gland being the seat of the soul, and just all the information that's wrapped up in it. So, of course, people have a lot of questions about this. This is a deep subject. It's a deep topic that I don't think a lot of people understand. Goes into many other things when you understand the power of the pineal gland and what it does for us. Talked about the suprachiasmatic nucleus and how it regulates, the dopamine and the melatonin in and out of the bloodstream, as far as the awakening and sleep process. So this really corresponds to a lot of stuff, So you get a lot of people who really believe in ghost and seeing ghost. And it's one of the questions I get, and so many things I know a lot of you guys heard from a lot of religious people that say they saw a ghost or they saw this, and how do you explain, what they seen? And a lot of people cite a lot of movies, and I'm gonna tell you, I talked about this before. A lot of shit people be saying is just exactly that. It's bullshit, and they know it is. And people will cry and moan and with a straight face, look you in the eyes and say they saw a ghost. And it's like, well, are you schizophrenic? What's wrong with you? Because if you're seeing such things, it's obviously something that altered your, sense of perception, your consciousness. So, I got into the whole thing with, just understanding, I talked about the Holy Ghost and how all this works, and understanding how the mind works when it comes to these things. So the methyltryptamine, I talked about this, and how the methyl DMT for short, the methyltryptamine, how it really is what triggers, all these things with the hallucinations, and people believe in they're seeing things, and just what happens when you have this whole Holy Ghost spirit and how spiritual it is. So on the other spectrum, no pun intended, we have the visual spectrum, what we can see that's in visible light. So when people talk about seeing ghosts, and not understanding what they're really saying, to be able to see this energy, if such a thing existed, you wouldn't be capable of seeing it. We see energy different. We have a very limited range of the visual spectrum when it comes to the electromagnetic spectrum. We see a very small amount of that visible light that we interpret. We interpret as colors, and that spectrum is small to us. We see very little. It's a whole nother world outside of our perception, that we can't see. There's just so much that exists outside of the realm of our viewpoint that we can't see with our eyes, with normal eyes. So when people say they saw the ghost, it's not possible. It's not possible for you to see something something that would be energetic, because if it was an actual ghost, it would be energetic. And then people seeing ghosts in the form of a human, or looking like, a human with clothes on and everything like that, is just defies physics. Like, people watch too many TV shows and movies, and they see stuff, and that puts it in their mind as being possible in reality, when it's a movie. And what you're seeing is not physically possible for you to see on the spectrum of visible light that we have as human beings. So the materials we see around us correspond to different wavelengths on the electromagnetic spectrum. And we see them, as we perceive them. It's a very small, scope as far as visible light that we can see. And an energy signature that you would see that will be strong enough to move matter, that's something that would be powerful. That's something that, you should be able to see, without a problem. So, like, you see in movies where you have ghosts do things and move things and touch physical things. It's just not possible, one person would see it and then another person wouldn't see it. That's energy that everybody will be able to see because it's moving matter. So we have other forms of energy that we can't see, but we know exist. So you look at put something in the microwave, turn the microwave on, you know, that's microwave energy, and we can see what's happening to the food inside the microwave, but we can't see the energy itself unless you introduce metal into the microwave, and then what would happen. But there's visible energy, there's invisible energy, but the invisible energy that we can't see but can harm matter or do things to matter, it's visible as far as the effects that it'll have on the matter. So, i.e., putting something in the microwave and seeing what the microwave does to it. So, seeing ghosts, it's impossible. I got all kinds of TV shows, hunters, and all this stuff like that. It's just something you wouldn't see, and anything that you would put on infrared goggles for leaves a heat signature. So it's not a ghost. So I get a lot of questions. A lot of people swear they saw ghosts and swear they saw their grandma, what have you. And you have to understand how it works when you have emotions. you know your emotions is powerful, and a lot of people don't understand what they really want and how your emotions can really affect your mental state. And you can see things that it's not there, because you want to see it. And with DMTs, well, dimethyltryptamine, this is something that's produced with the pineal gland, and you can trigger it naturally. And we trigger it a lot. So I talked about with the whole Holy Ghost and people being so spiritual at that moment, and what's happening with that in churches, people just get overly emotional. It's you summoning all your emotions from what you're going through in life and your hopes and your dreams and what you want God to give you and do for you, and how that would make you feel if that happened. So many different emotions that is, going on inside you when you trigger this. And then you have this, those episodes. So, it happens a lot when somebody can just be talking about their mom or their dad or somebody who they lost or love. Somebody just passed and somebody asks you a question about them and you start talking about them and you get emotional. You just bust out crying because you're emotional about the situation. It's the same stuff. So, we got into a big discussion about ghosts and do they really exist and this and that. And it's just like, come on, man, stop playing. Like, for people to believe, especially grown-ups, to believe that it's such a thing exists, it's straight out of movies. It's from watching too much TV. It's from seeing too much shit on TV. Just that simple. Just the notion of it is, one, it's impossible, because you can't see it. And the same thing would be, when you have a dream. And when you're in the dream state, everything that is being projected to you in the dream state is not physical reality, yet it seems real. But your mind can make it seem so real. And that's triggered in an unconscious state. So when you seeing stuff like this on a conscious level, they call it, the hallucinations, schizophrenia, all kinds of stuff. So it's so many different things that can be going on within a person for them to see it. I mean, you see a person talking to themselves, homeless person, schizophrenia, what have you, that is a mental state. So I just think it's weird, people say they seen ghosts, and then it's like, okay, so religious people will say they saw a ghost, but then they also believe in God. And people always try to mix those things together, like saying as if this ghost exists, it somehow gives some type of validity to Christianity. And I don't understand that part, because the question would be like, if you're seeing ghosts and you're a Christian, what happened with God? Like, you go up or down? Why is this ghost here, bothering you in your house? What happened with God to where, he's supposed to go to heaven, or you're supposed to go to hell? What is that? So you got to think about that part. And then the fear that people have of dying and going to hell and burning for eternity, again, this is something that defies physics. Physics is something that's all in your mind, that you want to perceive eternal burning and the pain and suffering, which is impossible without a physical body. So if you're dead and you're in your spiritual form, how are you burning and feeling physical pain when you don't have a physical body? And this is obviously something somebody made up to, you know, trick little kids. It never made sense to me, even when I was a kid. I just never got that. Like, how are you going to keep burning when your body's in the ground rotting or already burnt? And somehow you're in hell still burning forever with nothing physical to burn? It's stupid. The stuff people think about. And then people's mind goes to, oh, well, God and all things is possible, that somehow God is going to conjure up, you know, some type of body that can burn forever. Like, I don't know, like how you think this is possible. It just defies physics. So it's just one of those things where you got to really, you know, come to reality, come to your senses, and think about, what's possible. Seeing ghosts is something that a lot of people dismiss, because it's just crazy. But the notion of burning forever in hell is another equally crazy thing that's equally impossible. Obviously, it was a story that was created to scare people into the religion, but it's clearly, something that's impossible. So I always get these questions. These questions that, same questions I had when I was Christian, when I was having doubts, was just so much we seen about ghosts. And people always point out so many different movies that's supposed to be based off true stories. And for some reason, people don't think Hollywood lies. Oh, it's based on a true story. Yeah, it's based on a true story, but everything they put in the movie is not true. The story itself, as far as these people and something like this supposedly happened, it can be true, but not all of the details are true. So I talked about this in my book, and I talked about this in previous videos with the Exorcism of Emily Rose, and how the movie was completely different from real life. She was epileptic. She had grand mal epilepsy, and everything that was happening with her, as far as the contortions and everything like that, is consistent with grand mal epilepsy. So it wasn't that she was possessed by demons and all this. It was just super religious parents. And, the movie left out the part that the priests and all of them was also arrested and charged with her death. And, they all got off eventually. I think they just got probation, something like that. But yeah, she was diagnosed with epilepsy, and, they basically starved her to death. And nothing to do with no demons or anything like that. So the thing is, what would a demon be doing trying to possess a girl for what? For what purpose? And why would Satan allow it if Satan don't want y'all to know that he exists? Minute you see a demon and somebody possessed, and you can show this, I mean, the cat's out the bag. And supposed to be power in the name of Jesus, but clearly it didn't work like that in the movies. And it's just movies. And a lot of the ideas that's put in people's heads, when I'm having conversations with people, I see that it stems from movies. And it's one of the things you got to get out of your head. Like, a lot of this stuff people scared of, or the perception of, just biblical history and what they believe to be true, comes from movies. It's just stuff that didn't happen. There was no Noah's Ark. It didn't happen. They didn't find the ark. A lot of people think they actually found that ark, was proven to be a hoax. You guys got to look stuff up. Stuff is not true. So many things people want to tie into the Bible and try to give validity to it, but you got to really do the research on it, and you'll see a lot of the shit just not true. And it's just so much stuff that's just utter nonsense that you got to stop at some point and realize how stupid it sounds to believe. It ain't no damn ghost walking through walls, in a body, looking like how they look when they was alive. Like, that's just crazy. Like, for what? What would be the point of this? And then you believe in the Bible. Like, why would God allow this to happen? That would be crazy. So, a lot of the ideas and thoughts that we have about this stuff really stem from movies and just misinterpretations of the Bible, and things that people got wrong, or rumors that got spread, and things that people heard. And it's just utter nonsense. Your body cannot physically burn in hell forever. It's impossible. What kind of fire is that? What kind of material is that? I know God's supposed to be able to do all things, but this is impossibility. Impossible. Numbers don't lie. Physics it don't lie. It's just common sense. Something physical can't burn for all times. So it's crazy, and you have to be in your physical form, physical body to feel the pain, because we talk about pain of the flesh. Where you can't burn electricity forever or energy forever. Like, what is that? Fire and energy, something that's actual physical, and something that's spiritual. Two different things. So, we have a body for that reason. If that was the case, to where we could have physical sensation without a physical body, then we wouldn't need these bodies. We wouldn't need these bodies to experience the physical world. That's why our souls is in this body, so we can interact at this level, this materialistic realm, so we can interact with it, and it's a whole nother experience for our consciousness to perceive this low level of physical material stuff. If we could feel that in energetic form, or in our soul state, we wouldn't need the physical body. Why be in this body that experience pain or what have you if we don't have to? It's That's deeper than than everything else. But it's just stuff you got to really think about um, when you're getting into stuff like ghosts. So to just put that to bed, please. No more questions about ghosts. And you saw a ghost, and your aunt saw a ghost, and you saw George Washington in your living room, and all this kind of stuff. It's bullshit. It's all in your head. It's in your head. It's in your mind. Your mind can be tricked to see so many different things that you can perceive as real, but with just some knowledge and common sense, you understand that it's an explanation for all of it. Period. Don't try to parlay ghosts into aliens and put them in the same boat. It's two completely different things that we're talking about here. So you got to look at what's logical. That's not logical for you to see a ghost or burn in hell forever. So another question, yeah, what happens when you die? And I haven't died in this consciousness to be able to come back and tell you. So, you have to think about it. Like I talk about this in a few videos about understanding the dream world and what that really is about, and how the dream world is the real world's real existence. This physical stuff around us is the lowest form of existence that exists. It's horrible. It's the worst we can be in. It's low level when you understand, consciousness and how powerful, it really is. I mean, you experience it when you dream in a dream state, and everything that's here that you see around you physical is there as well in the dream state. And it's like, well, I would rather experience it that way because it's a different connection. It's a different interaction instead of the pain of physicality and material. And you can still experience it in the dream state without the pain, without the limitations, like, not being able to walk through walls, stuff like that. If you watch, a lot of my videos, I get into this, and just understanding, like, it's a lot more going on here. This is really deep situation that we in, and it's hard for people to understand and perceive based on how we've been conditioned to see and view the world and everything like that. It's the reason for all this stuff. So you have to understand that when you really critically think about it all, even just the nature of the soul, energy arts, like, that is powerful. Consciousness, it's a powerful thing. And imagine a being so powerful to be able to put us in this physical body. And why would we want to be in it? If, it's so low in existence when you think about it. But this is something that must have happened, something that had to have happened that way, to where, not that we was forced to be in this body, which could be a possibility, but at some point we had to have agreed to do this. The makeup of our bodies itself, lab made, something made it. There's no way around that. You're a geneticist, physicist, scientist, what have you, anything. It's no way around that. Something made this body, something put this shit together. So that, whatever that is, if you want to call it God, you can call it God, but whatever it was had to be physical. So it had to be physical to deal with the physical. So that's something that's really, you got to think about that. But to be powerful enough to get the spirit to do this, to embark in this whole journey, it don't make sense as far as like for it to be forced. It had to be something that in our real true form we agreed upon, um to have this experience here, which I believe is it's like school, it's like training for something. And here, you know, we limit it for whatever reasons. Uh, things is this way for whatever reason. But you have to look at the dream state. You go to sleep and you're in the dream world. You don't have no knowledge of your, you know, real physical, self. You're just in the dream state, and what's happening there you believe is real, but you have no knowledge that in reality you're actually in the bed, sleep on the couch, sleep on the floor, sleep wherever you sleep at, sleep in your car, sleep at your desk, but you're dreaming somewhere. Now, in that dream state, you have no clue. You're just going about the dream. It's like watching a movie. You just into it and you think it's real and everything is happening and all this stuff is going on. You could be a different person. You could be a detective, whatever. That's what you believe is real and what's happening. You have no knowledge of you actually being in physical world sleep. But when you wake up, everything comes rushing back. The knowledge of when you fell asleep, what you ate before you fell asleep, what you did yesterday, that you got to get up and go to work, you got to feed the kids, all that comes rushing back. But when you sleep in that dream world, you had no clue about none of that shit. But when you woke up, it all came back. And you got to think about that. And to me, that's how it is. That's what's going to happen once you die. You know, the knowledge of the real, what's real, comes back. Why you're here, your experience, what you were supposed to do, comes back. And you understand, you know, what you're supposed to understand. Seeing the soul and putting the soul in the same realm as physical and understanding it, these it's just different things that you got to understand, that you're supposed to understand, while you're here. So it's so many different, things that we just don't understand. We don't get because it's just outside of our, you know, possibility, our realm of understanding. Just like we can't see, outside of our perception, but we know there's, where we see so low on the in the visible light, on the electromagnetic spectrum, we see just a little teeny bit of what's possible and what can be visible. So we don't know what's past our perception, what it is. It's colors that exist that we will never be able to see physically, sounds we can't hear, so much. And it's the same way we have to look at it the same way as far as comprehension and just, another whole different way of thinking and possibilities as far as just what's possible physically, on a physical level, or just, period. There's just so much we don't know. We're confounded to this, to what we are here. So, I got into this, our DNA was altered at some point. Uh, it was cut off, and talked about this in the video on evolution, on how we can look at the primates DNA and see where it was basically burnt off as far as their evolution scale, where their evolution was halted and it looked like it was done on purpose. And how you get into the, you know, talked about how they say we don't come from primates. We have a common ancestor as primates. The Smithsonian talks about. So when you look at this DNA, this genetic path, and you compare it with humans, it's the same to a point. And where it stops at, that's it for chimps. And chimps has been the same for as long as it's been chimps. They stopped there. They didn't evolve. But then for humans, we kept going, and we get into where we are as far as humans in this DNA path we're on, but it's cut off. But it's like not cut off to where it can't keep going. It's just cut off because we lack the, I guess, the consciousness to expand it and make it grow. But it's room there for it to grow, for it to change and expand. But it's halted for whatever reason. We're not going to that point. And this is what a lot of, when you get into deep, science and what they're talking about, what can trigger it, the X-Man, powers and what's beyond that point, So when you get into it deeply, um, the possibilities is crazy of what we can do just in the physical form and what we can be, and just the limitations, or how we can expand the mind just from us using so little of the mind, what's there to be, to grow, to be filled, to be put in there, and why we can't grow that either. So people tell you that was done to us on purpose, that you go back to the ancient ones, they had this different consciousness. Uh, they had unlocked the brain, and just DNA was different, and who knows. But for us, it was tampered with. Um, we're our ability to grow is been cut off, and it's things that we can do to grow it, to trigger it, but the knowledge is not there. We're the system is designed to keep us away from that knowledge, and that's what this whole consciousness thing is about. And why we get into the ancient Egyptians, because we believe they had this ability, and while we've been trying to unlock these keys and everything, and yeah, we've been halted by so much for a reason. So it's nonstop, around the clock suppression of that food or water, the air, everything, knowledge, to keep us, at this point, and to keep us from, plateauing, not even plateauing, to surpassing where we are, just growing and becoming more than we are now, and reaching the full capability of human existence, which should be the goal of every human on this planet, not to just, you know, work and sleep and eat, what have you. It's possibilities that they keep away from us, that knowledge of what we can do and what's possible. And it's like we're not trying to reach it. We're not trying to grow. And what it takes to grow is way past our comprehension right now. So I know a lot of this stuff sounds, spooky or what have you, but it's proven. It's physics, it's science, it's all there. The information is there. It's just they're not teaching it to you. And if you don't have the want and desire to go out and seek this knowledge, you're just not going to know. We get stuck in so many things that don't matter, trying to fulfill this ideology we have, this thought we have that we want to have and believe in so much. And I don't knock the Christians that ask these questions and stuff like that. I just feel like they want so bad for what they believe in to be real, and it's just not. And why would you want it to be? I mean, seriously, like, I don't think people really why would you want to be up there in heaven with this dude that don't give a shit about you, that allowed you to suffer for so long? I mean, it's got to be the sickest thing in existence for somebody to come up with a way, if it was real, a way for you to burn and feel pain for all eternity because you didn't want to fuck with him like that. That's psycho. So why would you want to be with this dude that said to you, hey, pray to me, I got you, and never had you back? Bullshit liar to you and everybody you know. A lot of people died on their knees praying and drowned praying and so much shit, praying for hope that never came because it didn't exist. And if it did, why would you want to deal with this person who wasn't there for you? It's just a ludicrous way of thinking, and it's bullshit. But not promoting Satan and saying, well, then who's the alternative? We're gonna go to Satan. It's, you really have to understand and come to terms with what those two things is, and stop bullshitting yourself and realize that it's you. Nobody else is controlling the bad shit that happened in your life as you. You made choices and decisions that put you where you are. And those choices and decisions is your demons, your devil, your problems, your shit. Um, yeah, people do shit to us. Stuff happened to us. But you still got to put yourself in a position for it to happen to you. And then, it should only take, a person can't ruin your entire life. I'm not talking about, somebody cutting your arm off or doing some physical harm to you. I'm just saying, like, as far as like you're fine physically, and some words a person say is can't destroy your entire life. It's that's you. That's what you allowed to happen because you kept going back or you kept listening to and you didn't do what you were supposed to be doing. But aside from a person cutting off your limbs or what have you, nobody can really destroy your life or hold you back. You made decisions that you stayed with this person or you listened to this person or you didn't want to go do the research on your own. You ain't want to fight for yourself and believe in yourself. So you let somebody lead you astray and now you are where you are. You know, there's so many things that we put on ourselves that we try to use to, you know, to try to explain where we are, and I think people do it to give God a pass. And blaming the devil is just as stupid. Blame yourself. It's just so much you're not going to know. And your ignorance of what's possible doesn't give validity to the Bible, doesn't give validity to religion because you didn't do the research or because you chose to be ignorant about stuff that's really easy for you to look up and see. And you didn't want to accept an alternative, belief or truth to how we got here. Just because the Bible said God created us don't mean that's exactly what happened. It's deeper than that. It's so much more deeper than that. And it's spooky when you really get into it because once you start to learn physics and understand about how this shit is possible, how matter comes into existence, come on, man. It's no way. This is intelligence. It's just something that can't happen out of poof, thin air. No. We didn't crawl out of no primordial soup and evolve through millions of years into this consciousness. Come on. Like, that's impossible. And you have to learn to separate the two. You have your physical body, but you talk to yourself in here, which tells you the real you is in there. This body is just physical. This is your vehicle that you are driving for this incarnation. This is how you got here. From the spiritual to the physical, and it's what this is. And just that process alone is amazing. And how this whole thing was set up. Like it's just so easy to really accept that because it's something that, had to be created. This is something that can't be a coincidence. The level of complexity of childbirth and just who and what we are, it's deep, deep video, deep stuff when you really start to comprehend what I'm talking about here. But, we got into a lot of stuff, talking to a few people about these subjects. And I wanted to put this video out I know a lot of us have people who we talk to, family, what have you, that believe in such things. And, the ghost thing is nonsense. Burning in hell is nonsense or what have you. And it's just, it's ass backwards when you think about it. But according to religion, spending your physical existence to prepare for eternity is backwards. It don't make sense for this to be needed. If we're going to have such a short time here to prepare for eternity there, it seems like a fucking waste of time unless it's a purpose here that we don't understand or know about in this physical body. And then when you look around at what we're doing and what's going on, you come to the conclusion that the purpose could only be to grow, to have experiences, to grow and expand in consciousness, because the more you experience, the more you can expand your consciousness. The more you perceive, the more you can expand your consciousness through experience. And that has to be the reason. So yeah, just want to put out this quick video real quick and get into this subject and subjects and these conversations that we have about just, some things that I think people really need to start letting go. Shit that we held on for too long, and we need to get to the point where we start to let go of some of this nonsense. Can't burn forever in hell is stupid. You never seen no damn ghosts. I don't care how many TV shows you've seen or what have you. It ain't no such thing. Can be explained, period. No damn ghosts. Stop watching so many damn movies. Stay off Netflix watching that bullshit and believing it. But yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch, and yeah, see you next video.